think we're ready to go. Today's video, I kinda want to label this redemption. It's basically the last 3 times I've been out, I've done terrible. Second day at Clear Lake was a crapshoot, and then last week I fished the Delta twice. One day I pretty much couldn't even catch a limit, and the second day I was battling high winds and sea lions and caught like 3 dinks. So 3 trips, not a lot of success, so hopefully today we can turn it around. Well, I don't want to say my worries were confirmed right there, but yeah, just talking to that guy, you know, this part of the delta on each side is dammed off for months, the summer months, and not opened back up until, you know, mid-fall, and a lot of these fish get plucked out of here on tournaments, and there's, you know, really not a good way for them to replenish. It stops the salmon run, just messes up the bait fish, and I don't know. We're gonna go with an open mind though. We're gonna go with an open mind and do our best. Well, the drag was not set well for that one. New reel, sorry guys. Good chunk on the frog. It's a dink, but it's a fish. Head crasher, smaller frog. It's the one I was having better luck on at Clear Lake, but it wasn't as much matted vegetation there, or, you know, thick stuff. So for this thick stuff, we're gonna go with a bigger frog, live target. Not a whole lot of mods I do to my frogs. I just trim the legs. That's pretty much it. Where is it? Junk drawer. Yeah, final touches to the frog. Definitely get fish sticks on the legs and then on the body. We're good. That's a good kayak bass right there. Nice skinny long one. It's probably a 14-incher, but this guy would be lucky to go a pound. Well, I guess we won't measure him. It's gonna happen today. I can feel it. We're gonna catch a big one. You know, I think one of the big things with frog fishing, especially on an area like the Delta, it gets a lot of frog fishermen, is being able to make casts that not a lot of people are making. You know, getting your frog in those areas that, you know, fish haven't seen a frog. And I'm not perfect at it, but I'm definitely always trying to get better at it, because if you can put your bait in spots like that throughout the day, you're going to get a few extra bites. There's no question about that. I haven't caught a fish on the punch rig in so long. My gear wasn't tuned and my drag slipped. Well, here's my punch setup if you're curious. It's a little bit bulkier bait, straight king rodent. It's just, for years now, has been my go-to punch bait. 5/0 Trokar straight shank hook. Got a 1 ounce weight on there. 2 bobber stops just to keep that weight pegged real good. That's the deal. Holy crap, is that real? Usually those owls bolt before I can get too close. Head on a swivel. Well, the bite has been a lot slower than I thought it'd be on the frog. I thought we were going to crush him today. But I just made a color change. Maybe that'll get me a few more bites. But just to give this video a little more action, I'm going to show you guys a clip of the first big fish I ever caught on the Delta 3 years ago. And I believe it was right under that tree. So yeah, that was my first big Delta frog bass. That was my first big one on the frog, and that's what got me hooked on the Delta. God, I can't even get my hand around him. That's a chunk. 17 and a half. Chatterbait fish. Ow! Whew! Just took a hook in the thigh. Anchor. Oh, bummer. Man, I'm not good at punching. Or at least I have to practice a little more. So this year has been a year where I've really not been on a good punch bite, and it used to be a technique, or it has been a technique that I've really enjoyed in the summer, and just hasn't happened this year for me. So I do feel rusty, and it's my technique is definitely bad. Not a giant, but we'll take it. Well, we're catching them today, getting some bites. Man, that fish was angry. God, I thought that was like a 6-pounder for a second, the way it hit. That's called choking it right there. Man, that was a crazy fight. The fish was like water skiing. I mean, I wasn't water skiing the fish. The fish was like on the surface, like flapping its tail, like water skiing itself. And since today's video, apparently I'm doing some flashbacks. I'll show you another incident where I had a fish fight like that. It was a Clear Lake tournament. Just a really weird thing to happen. I never thought that would happen again, but there, happened right there. Oh man, that was a big lake. Oh God. Oh God. Why did I pick it up right there? It's a big one right there. What am I thinking? fun. Choked it again. 18.5. So when that happens, and that's happened a couple of times today, I'll move my frog and you'll see something kind of wake or just get disturbed. To me, and what I've seen in the past, is that these fish are setting up right underneath the surface. So that's a really good thing, obviously, because then it makes a frog ideal in these conditions. But you make a cast and it'll just see a little bit of a disturbance. And again, I don't think that's necessarily the fish reacting to your bait and trying to eat it. I think you almost kind of scare them, and it just tells me where they're positioning. Giant something right there. Holy crap. Looks like a carp. Oh no, that's a bass. That's a bass. It's fun when they're hitting on top. One thing I've kind of learned on the Delta, you gotta think about the tide, and you gotta think about high and low tides and where fish could hide. So for this example, I mean, this is wood, but you gotta imagine when the tide's higher, look at all that, you know, cover a fish could hide in. And I think when the tide drops, these fish just drop with it and they don't go too far, and they're still near these targets. So a lot of the time I'll kind of, on low tide especially, I'll look for stuff above the water that looks really fishy, and then I'll fish in adjacent areas, and sometimes I get a bite. Oh my god. Straight up missed it. That's a big fish right there. That was a big fish. He missed it the first time. Oh my gosh. See, that's exactly what we were talking about. Yeah, exactly what we're just talking about. On high tide, when that water's up, fish probably lives on that wood, and that wood probably extends out, but you know that they're around somewhere. Well, that is going to do it for today. You know what? It was a great day out on the water. It's probably the best day I've had on the Delta. Look how low that tide is, by the way. But it was a great day out on the water. Probably the best day I've had on the Delta since the spring. No giants, but caught, you know, solid fish. And as of right now, this is probably the spot I'm going to launch for the KBF tournament, which is an open launch event anywhere on the Delta. And that's in a couple of weeks. So definitely going to be a few other areas I'm going to check out before the tournament, but this definitely looked promising. And if I can fish a frog all day and catch them, then that's hard to beat. Thank you guys for watching. All baits, gear, all that good stuff in the description, and I will catch you in the next one. Later.